fifth episode of Weekly Takes by Jagjit from New York. As always, we begin by talking about news of the world, happenings in USA, a little known fact about New York, news of India, and the role of the opposition, wherein we will talk particularly and specifically about the Congress Party. Let's begin. International news. All over the globe, the talk has been about the resurgence of corona. Countries which had opened up are again locking down. Amidst the fast increase of infections, on July 1, the European Union opened its borders to 14 countries whose current infection rates are low enough for the bloc to consider them as safe, similar to or lower than rates in the European Union. However, that does not include the United States. Meanwhile, Russia voted for constitutional reforms, which would allow President Vladimir Putin to stay in power and in office for 2 more terms, which means till 2036. Hong Kong has been witnessing protests by its people and Chinese enforcement of draconian laws. It may not be improper to say here that the World Health Organization has changed its account of the early stages of the COVID crisis to say it was alerted by its own office in China and not the Chinese itself, after severe criticism by President Trump. News about America. At least 5 United States single-day case records on Friday as the country's daily infection report topped 50,000 level. States like Arizona, Florida, and Texas are seeing some of their highest numbers to date, and the surge shows few signs of stopping. Amidst this, a good sign, as infections in the US are rising, the death rate has dropped. Remember, in the last episode, I had appealed to the millennials to be more cautious and vigilant. I am repeating it again. The new norm is MSW: mask, social distancing, and washing your hands. This has to be understood clearly and adapted into our daily lives for a better future. According to former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb, the worst of the coronavirus outbreak will be over in the United States by around January 2021. Other than COVID, headlines were again the struggle of the people with the slogan Black Lives Matter. America is a work in progress. It is a narrative that we are shaping every day through our resistance to racism and our commitment to creating an America that works for all. Today is July 4, Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to all of you. It's typically a day to celebrate our collective history as Americans. This year is a special because millions of people are taking a hard look at what independence actually means throughout the American history for us. The fight for a more equitable democracy has more people power than ever before. Struggle continues. Amidst this backdrop, we hear the good news. United States employers added a record jobs gain of 4.8 million in June. And unemployment rate fell to 11.1% as the job market improved for the second straight month after the colossal losses it suffered due to corona. On this upbeat note, let me tell you about an interesting fact about America which not everybody knows. A quick question: why do we celebrate 4th of July with fireworks? On July 4, 1776, the 13 colonies claimed their independence from England and formed the United States of America. Each year on the 4th of July, Americans celebrate this historic event. But the question remains, why fireworks? Because John Adams wanted us to. Before even the Declaration of Independence was signed, John Adams wrote a letter to his wife in which he stated how the occasion of America's freedom should be celebrated and should include pomp and parades, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other. We have continued with his wish and desire. The first organized 4th of July fireworks were set off in 1777 in Pennsylvania and Boston. The first ever Macy's fireworks show lit up New York skies in 1958, but not on July 4th. The pyrotechnic extravaganza took place over the Hudson River on July 1 as a celebration of the department store's 100th anniversary. About 1 million people showed up to watch this great event. That early antecedent was replaced by the show we know today and has become an annual American tradition. Just shared a few images of the event with you. अब चलें भारत की ओर. The news has been around India-China standoff. I had talked about it in the last episode, and some of you wrote to me and asked me about what the fingers meant and what are they and to explain it to them. I am sharing some pictures depicting those things with the line of actual control and the demarcation line which China claims. Another fact which I wish to bring to your notice, that till 1949 India had no common border with China and Tibet was a sovereign nation. It was after China annexed Tibet that China has common borders with India and the problem started. You may now easily understand why Prime Minister Modi, on his trip to Leh to meet the soldiers at the front lines at a height of 11,000 feet, said that the era of expansionism has ended. This is an era of development, he pointed out. The message resonated loud and clear with the whole world and was a warning to the Chinese communist regime. The Prime Minister also pointed out that we, the brave, can only think and talk of peace. And I had pointed out in my last episode, sentiments in India are against China and boycotting of Chinese products. The government of India has banned 59 apps of China and China complained. Facebook has more than 2.5 billion monthly active users worldwide, with primarily no footprint in China. That's because Facebook is banned in China, along with many other global social media providers like YouTube, Google, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And China complains about its app being banned in India. What double standards! At the same time, the government has also cancelled many tenders and investment opportunities to the Chinese companies all over India in different sectors. This in keeping with its Atmanirbhar Bharat promise. चर्चे में भारत नेपाल संबंध भी रहा। भारत के जितने घनिष्ठ संबंध नेपाल से रहे हैं उतने शायद अन्य किसी देश से नहीं। बगैर पासपोर्ट के, बगैर वीसा के दोनों देश के नागरिक आवाजाही करते रहे हैं, काम धंधा करते रहे हैं और शादी ब्याह आपस में करते रहे हैं। पर विगत कुछ महीनों से दोनों के संबंध खराब हुए हैं सीमा विवाद को लेकर। दरअसल नेपाल ने एक नया नक्शा अपनी संसद में सहमति द्वारा जारी किया है, जिसमें काला पानी और लिपुलेख के इलाके को अपना दिखाया है। भारत भी उस भूमि को अपना कहता है और कुछ समय पहले राजनाथ सिंह ने एक सड़क का उद्घाटन किया जिससे कैलाश मानसरोवर के यात्रियों की यात्रा आसान हो जाए। एक संक्षिप्त नजर डालते हैं इस विवाद पर। यह इलाका और इसका एक भाग भारत के हिस्से में है। यह हिस्सा नेपाल के उत्तर पश्चिम में स्थित है। 300 मीटर का यह तिकोना कोना उत्तराखंड का एक दुर्गम इलाका है और गांव या जो भी इसे कहें, इसे लिम्पियाधुरा कहते हैं। इसका दक्षिण भाग ही लिपुलेख कहलाता है। इसी के दक्षिण पश्चिम भाग में काला पानी का इलाका आता है। यही 3 जगह विवाद के कारण है। यह कहानी शुरू होती है आज से लगभग 200 साल पहले, जब भारत पर ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी का वर्चस्व था। 1800 ईस्वी में जब भारत पर अंग्रेजों का राज था, उस समय वे नेपाल को अपने कब्जे में देखना चाहते थे। नेपाल में उस समय गोरखाओं का शासन था। 1814 से लेकर 1816 तक उनमें लड़ाई चली, जिसे एंग्लो गोरखन वॉर भी कहते हैं। 1816 में बिहार के सुगौली में इन दोनों के बीच एक संधि हुई, जिसे सुगौली संधि के नाम से माना जाता है। इस संधि के फलस्वरूप नेपाल ने सिक्किम और दार्जिलिंग का इलाका अंग्रेजों को सौंप दिया। अब नेपाल राज्य को परिभाषित करने के लिए 2 नदियों का सहारा लिया गया। इसके अनुसार पूर्व में मेची और पश्चिम में महाकाली, यह नदी जहां से चलती गई सीमा बनती गई। समस्या तब आई जब महाकाली पश्चिम की तरफ बढ़ते बढ़ते तिब्बत के पास 2 भागों में विभाजित हो गई। यहीं से एक भाग को भारत अपना कहता है और नेपाल अपना। जो पतला तिकोना भाग है उसे अंग्रेजों ने उस समय नेपाल से मांगा लिया, क्योंकि तिब्बत और चीन जैसे दुर्भेद्य इलाके की निगरानी करने के लिए वहां से आसानी पड़ती थी। उस समय नेपाल को कोई आपत्ति नहीं थी, क्योंकि अंग्रेजों से दोस्ती का सवाल था। और उसका आलम यह था कि 1857 के गदर में गोरखा सिपाहियों ने अंग्रेजों के साथ मिलकर भारतीयों को लखनऊ तक मारने आई थी। यह इलाका मौखिक रूप से अंग्रेजों ने गोरखाओं से लिया था। सुगौली संधि का लिखित रूप से कहीं नहीं है। आज़ादी के बाद भारतीय सेना का 1962 से एक बेस कैंप वहां रहा है और तब से लेकर आज तक वहां आर्मी रहती है। नेपाल का तर्क यह है कि वह गोरखा संधि को नहीं मानती है, क्योंकि नेपाल में प्रजातंत्र 1990 में आया है और वहां की जनता की ये मांग है कि यह जमीन हमारा है। लोगों का यह मानना है कि नेपाल की कम्युनिस्ट सरकार ऐसा चीन के उकसाने पर कर रही है, पर स्थिति यह है कि वहां की जनता अब सरकार के खिलाफ हो गई है। देखते हैं आगे के दिनों में क्या होता है। Now about the role of the opposition in India. As I had said in the last episode, almost all parties except the Congress party is with the government and the armed forces. In this critical juncture, but the former president of the Congress party, Shri Rahul Gandhi, has been talking sense or not is for you to judge. But it seems he is still stuck with his 2008 MOU with the Chinese party which he wants to believe in. आप क्या चाहते हैं राहुल जी, जरा स्पष्ट करें. आप किसके साथ हो बताओ. Talk within the Congress is on about Priyanka Gandhi being asked to vacate the house where she had been living. Does she have a right? Can she not share a house with her mother or brother who have big bungalows? India is a country of 130 crores where large families share small dwellings. They live together. Why can't you? I see congressmen of all shades and colors issuing statements and advice. Can you not worry about the millions who do not have a roof over their head? That should be the job of someone who is in public life, to speak for those who do not have a voice and not for those who can afford it. The current president has written a letter to the Prime Minister demanding for reservation of seats for other backward classes students in medical institutions in the various states and union territories under the national quota in the national eligibility cum entrance exams. A great thought. While on one side you demand quota for OBC, but when giving Rajya Sabha nominations from your own party in the recent elections, you give the OBC candidate the second preference seat to get defeated. Is this not double standard, madam? On the student issue, the party was silent in Uttar Pradesh and other states where the cause was championed by social and non-political organization called the Brahma Sena, along with other groups. With things moving as they are, it appears that even the independents will score better in the ensuing and forthcoming elections in the states of Bihar or Uttar Pradesh in the future. भारत सरकार को वंदे भारत मिशन की सफलता पर बधाई. 5 लाख से ज़्यादा भारतीयों को विदेश से वापस घर लाने पर. साथ ही स्टील अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया लिमिटेड को बधाई. जून 2020 में अब तक का सबसे ज़्यादा उत्पादन करने का कीर्तिमान स्थापित. अगली बार हम चर्चा करेंगे विस्तार से बिहार के आने वाले चुनाव के बारे में. सूत्रों के हवाले से हम आपको बताएंगे कि किसकी सरकार बनेगी और कौन सी पार्टी कितनी सीट हासिल कर पाएगी. हाँ, अगर आपको हमारा चैनल पसंद आया तो कृपया लाइक करें, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें ताकि आपको अगले एपिसोड के बारे में जानकारी पहले मिल सके और मिलती रहे. अगले सप्ताह फिर मिलेंगे. तब तक के लिए जय भारत, जय हिंद.